Hello, and welcome to this first case study in this section on introduction in this course, Master in Generative AI. So, in this lecture, we will take a look at a case study of becoming an excellent generative AI engineer. And this is a case study of becoming a model builder from a model user and which is on the way to becoming an excellent generative AI engineer. So, what was the challenge and what was the situation? So this case study is about Ishan, 27 years old, a name mask, face mask, let's say that, which is he's a 27-year-old solid Python and ML engineer in a mid-sized tech company. Now he has good grasp of classical machine learning, sklearn, basic deep learning, etc., but only surface level experience with ChatGPT, Midjourney, etc. And his CTO says in one of his conversations that clients now ask for Gen AI solutions, not just dashboards. If you want to lead the next wave of projects, you must move from using Gen AI tools to engineering Gen AI systems. And now Ishan feels the behind. He doesn't understand, LLMs, if internals, prompt engineering, retrieval augmented generation RAG, or fine tuning reality. And the online contents that he has been looking at to learn seems fragmented and hype driven. At the same time, he wants to become a go to generative AI engineer within 12 to 18 months, not a casual user. So that's a challenge that he wants to become a Gen AI engineer in 12 to 18 months, and he has many gaps to cover, right? So, what is the insight that helps Ishan become what he wanted to become? Now, it happened with a senior architect giving him blunt advice. Senior architects are good for that, right? He said most Gen AI engineers don't fail on model choice. They make good choices. That's not the key problem. The issue is that they fail on problem framing, data evaluation, and guardrails. And that's why their models fail actually. So Ishan reframed his goal, right? He said, I just don't want to know LLM APIs, but I also want to design robust GenAI systems that solve real business problems safely and reliability. So that is what his insight was on the path to become a Gen AI engineer. So, what was the solution path that he adopted then? So, he created a four-part roadmap. The first part was, getting foundations of LLMs and generative AI models. Second, then was to apply the Gen AI system design, then apply them in Gen AI system design, and do the applied projects on RAG, tools, and workflows. And third was to evaluate the safety, reliability, and other performance parameters of these models, and accordingly then build a public track record. So those were the four steps in his roadmap. So let's take a look at each of these. So what did Ishan do to solidify LLM and Gen AI fundamentals? And he took 2 to 3 months and he picked one structured path instead of trying to do everything all over, instead of random YouTubing, uh, you know, videos. What he did was he revisited many of the concepts like transformers in terms of attention, positional encoding, decoding. You will learn. Don't worry about that if you're not very familiar. You will learn all this as you go on this course. Second thing he looked at was tokenization, embedding, temperature, top K versus top P, right? Then he implemented small projects, right? A toy sequence model, embedded based semantic search over a small text campus. And the outcome was that he can now read LLM documents without feeling lost. And he understands why different settings change behavior in the models. So that's how he solidified his LLM and GenAI fundamentals in 3 months' time. Second step, then he started building end-to-end GenAI apps. He decided that each project must include, problem framing, clear task, clear user constraint, RAG or tool use, not just vanilla prompting. Simple UI or API endpoints. And some of the examples of what he built was like internal QA over company policy, a project in which he ingested documents, embeddings, and created store vectors using the store vectors. He built a RAG pipeline with an LLM and few short prompts for, you know, answer style and site asset. The second thing he did was a as a project was a code assistant for internal microservices when he indexed repo docs and code comments which would do that and which would also retrieve plus do LLM to propose code snippets with clear warnings in the program itself. And what did he learn? He learned that hallucinations and how IRG reduces them, how the LLMs hallucinate and how RAG reduces them, and the importance of prompts, templates, grounding, and context windows, and the basics of ML ops for GenAI, like versioning, prompts, configures, and datasets. So that's what he learned during these building these end-to-end GenAI apps in 3 to 6 months time. So the third step was about learning evaluation, guardrails, and cost control, and all of them happened in parallel. And it happened with Ishan realizing that the earlier method of if your test prompt works, that works isn't good enough, right? So he set up many things like evaluation sets, 50 to 200 realistic user queries, automated matrices where possible, like BLEU for summaries, classification accuracy, and human review for edge cases. And he also experimented with, prompt variants and RAG parameters, tracking accuracy, helpfulness, response time, cost in terms of tokens and API calls. And he also added simple guardrails like input validation, output filters like regex, simple policies, and clear system prompts, what the model must not do. Now he can talk about Gen AI quality in numbers, not feelings, right? So he had become numerate, rational, knowledgeable in evaluation, guardrailing, and cost control. So that's what happened there. So fourth thing Ishan did was that instead of trying to learn everything, he chose a focus area. And the focus areas was Gen AI for enterprise knowledge and analytics. And there he wrote 2 to 3 technical blog posts, right? Like lessons on from building an internal RAG assistant, how we reduce hallucination by X% with better retrieval. Also, he used open sources, a minimal, well-documented RAG starter repo, a few prompts and evaluation templates. And inside the company, he volunteered to lead POCs when GenAI can help, right? Where GenAI could help. And there were things like support ticket summarization, requirements going to test case generation. And within a year, his colleagues started saying, Ask Ishan, he's a Gen AI guy, right? So he had kind of achieved his goal, right? So, what was the Ishan's excellence checklist? And let's do an acronym for that as SHORT. Now, SHORT's acronym was to become a excellent Gen AI engineer faster. Now, what does that stand for? S is for systems thinking. Always design systems, data, retrieval, model, guardrails, not just prompts. So, design systems. Then do hands-on projects, at least 3 real apps with users, logs, and feedback. Get into operations, learn deployment, monitoring, cost tracking, and versioning for GenAI workflow because that's going to be the real life, right? Then do rigorous evaluation, build test sets, track matrices, and iterate like a scientist. And finally, build a track record by with public repos, blog posts, and internal case docs that prove that you can deliver. So that was Ishan's short, excellent checklist. So what are the key takeaways? So you can become a generative AI engineer not by knowing every paper. You don't need to know everything. You can do a few focus things. But what you need is by repeatedly turn fuzzy ideas into reliable Gen AI system, because that's going to be your job. You will not be judged by the width of your knowledge, but the depth and your ability to turn fuzzy ideas into reliable Gen AI systems. And this would include things like, the cycle that you can use is start with a clear problem framing, right? Do smart use of LLMs, do strong evaluation, and make a visible impact. So that's the key takeaway, right? So what do we do next? What else? We start taking a look at how to become a generative AI engineer, and we start with an overview of looking at what are the various things that you need to do and what are the various ways you can do. You have some idea from this case, but let's dig deeper and in more detail as we go forward. So thank you so much for watching this introductory case study in this course, Mastering Generative AI. I hope you are beginning to learn new things, beginning to enjoy, and I do look forward to see you again in the next lecture. Please feel free to message me if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer your questions, and do download the PDF file to take a look at anything that you need to.